No doubt, the persistence of insecurity in the country is biting harder, with no part of the country spared. Now it seems the theater center is the Federal Capital Territory, with some attacks sending shivers down the spine of residents. Being concerned about all these nefarious activities by the terrorists, the President Muhammadu Buhari called for a meeting with the service chiefs, who revealed that they are already working on a new strategy towards dominating the terrorists, with the promise that there will be change in momentum. Due to this decision, the Nigerian Army reshuffled its top brass with the appointment of a new general officer commanding GOCS. Well, barely 24 hours after this revelation, the terrorists struck again. And this time around, it was the army checkpoint in front of the Zuma Rock at Suleja, outskirts of the FCT. So, the big question is, how soon will this new strategy begin to be effective, and how far will the military's engagement with the terrorists? Answers to these questions with my guests, who will be responding shortly. My name is Lydia Odijochi. Welcome to Nigeria Today. With me to discuss new security strategy is Dr. Sadiq Hassan, a strategic security consultant. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Also here with me is Wing Commander Musa Salmanu, retired but not tired, peace and security expert. We appreciate your presence.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers.
All right. Let me start with you. What do you make of this statement by the NSA?
Well, what I make of it is the intention of the security apparatus, or the entire security, or what constitutes the security architecture, to kind of look inwards and say, it's been years that we've been fighting this, and how far have we gone? What are we getting right, or what have we not gotten right? And how can we bring in much vigor? Or obviously what we have been doing over the years has not been given the desired result, and perhaps we need to take a look or re-strategize and redouble our efforts, or change something, because you can't continue doing the same thing,
Of course.
And expect a different result. So it's a time to kind of self-assess and say, what have we been doing, and how can we do it differently this time around?
All right. Now, before I come to you, Dr. Sadiq, let's take this short response from the National Security Advisor. Take a look.
Members of the armed forces have made a commitment that they've already started working on a new strategy to deal with these snippets of violence. And they've given their word, their commitment to the president, that in the coming weeks there will be a change in momentum. They've understood the enormity of the responsibilities that they have. Again, Council is in the process of winding up the special investigative panel on the Kuje incident. And the idea is to come up with recommendations, hold those who are supposed to be held accountable for their deeds, and to ensure that this type of thing never, ever, ever happens again in this country.
You listen to the National Security Advisor, Vagana Monguno. Now, let me ask you, Dr. Sadiq, is this the best time to be talking about change in security strategy?
Thank you very much for that. First of all, I would say it's a good thing for them to look at strategy changing, because that shows a desire and the importance of solving the problem and bringing it to an end. But the question I need to ask, what's wrong with the current national security strategy. What I think the armed forces, including the paramilitary, should look into is the rule of engagement. National security strategy we have today is a document that the visions is being stated and the missions to actualize it. Now, what is the visions? Secure, save Nigeria, and just. That is the visions of national security strategy we have as of today. Okay. If you look at the missions, is that Nigeria is going to apply all national element of power to achieve it. Political, military might. Okay. Already political power is in place. The military armed forces is in place. Why can't they get it right? You've discussed your theory. You've now established the armed forces, which are the front line. The police are there for internal security. Armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force are there for territorial integrity. What is the element of power have you deployed to counter your current reality and problems? And when it comes to that, we also look at it. It is two elements on armed forces: offensive capability and defensive capability. They have to look at their defensive capability. Vis-a-vis, you cannot move in, will take you back. That is defensive capability. Okay. Offensive capability, in the sense, will take it to where they are.
Okay. Take the fight to them.
To them, okay, where they are.
All right.
In order not to come where you are. So okay, I would say, have we exhausted? It is good to have or think of a new document called National Security Strategy. But if you have not been able to look at your defensive capability and offensive capability, we are still going back to, yes, these are based on intellectual annotations.
Okay, Wing Commander, let me ask you this. Coming out publicly to announce this, is it not giving the terrorists a hint of what is coming?
So you see, this is in two bits.
Okay.
First of all, you need to assure the citizenry of something, or you're doing something. When there's a problem, the first thing you need to do is to assure your citizens that you are on top of the situation, something is being done about it, and this is, to a large extent, to what is permissible, this is what we're doing. So I think that is what the National Security Advisor sought to do, to tell everyone, every Nigerian, that we are re-strategizing, we're looking at a better way of responding to this. And so it's not, in a way, if you look at it, the details are not there. He said we are going to kind of rejig or look at what we're doing and kind of restructure or do something about, or review our strategy. Now that's okay, because it's important to reassure the Nigerian citizens that the Nigerian government is doing something and is on top of that. Now the issue of, it also sent us a message to the terrorists that if what we've been doing has not been hitting you hard, like he talked about the offensive capability, perhaps it leaves them guessing, is there going to be more offensive action on them? Are they going to use the other elements of power? Because the military is just one element of power. It's called the dime. That's diplomacy, information, military, and economy. That's what forms up what can be used, or those elements of power that the state has. Now, if we've been using the offensive capability of the state, there are so many other areas of capabilities that the state has that it can pick from any of those and apply. So it also gives them that hard dog kind of what is the next move of the government. So it's also a good kind of strategy to say we're doing something, it's important to reassure.
Okay, Dr. Sadiq,
yes,
why is it that the FCT is now the center of all the threats and attacks?
Yes, if you know, FCT is the powerhouse of Nigeria, the seat of power. It is for the nations to know that they have audacity to get to you wherever you are. Because to them, the suburb are like a pieces. So coming to where you are is to prove to you that we have what it takes to dare you. That is why the FCT becomes the center. Now, it is a good thing that NSA has come and make this statement. What does that signify? I keep on saying, no matter what we are going through, the state has monopoly of power for crisis, except the state is not ready to use its might. Sometimes a nation go into propaganda. North Korea has threatened the world that they can reach America as far, but they've never did it. But they've said it in terms of using nuclear power. So if it is need to add propaganda plus the might, we need to do that. Because that shows that we are sovereign nations and you cannot, despite overlook you. Because even in terms of engagement, the military has to follow the rule of law. Why this element? They don't give it down. They don't follow the rule of law. All they just want to do is to get back at you. So that is why sometimes the military has to follow the procedure, despite they have all what it takes to take it out.
Okay, Wing Commander, when they say new strategy, what do you expect to see?
What I expect is no layback or no hold back on all those elements of powers that we spoke about. The military does the offensive action, the other aspects. Now, what has, if you look at what the doctor said, is all elements of all the state. So now we emphasize the military action most times to the detriment of other components. Now, there is all of our state activity. Everybody has to do something, not only the military. The military alone, yes, you need that offensive action to suppress them from taking actions. But when that is done, there are the underlying reasons why this came all about, like lack of capacity for other security agencies in terms of maintaining law and order. Now, if you continue using one tool out of so many tools that you have, you find out that the potency of that tool diminishes with time. So when you look at, while you're using to reduce that threat that they have on the stateness of the state, the stateness of the state is the ability of the state to have that monopoly of the means of violence. When it's contested or is challenged by someone, the state has to show capacity that it can suppress that. So you need that to do that. When you suppress that, then other efforts have to come in. The economy, you look at in terms of infrastructure, you look at what are those things that keep people busy that they don't get into this. What are all those elements that are required to ensure that it takes away the wind from this, the terrorist element. So when this new strategy, I'm hoping, because it came from this Council of State, it is, everything has been looked upon, and there is the determination to use all the elements of power, not just the military.
All right, let's pause for a while, a little break. Let's feel the pulse of Nigerians on the street.
We hope it is going to be a fruitful one, that it is going to reorganize and bring a very good strategy that will tackle the insecurity that the country is facing, which is actually disturbing everywhere in the country. Everybody wants to see something actually good out of this meeting.
President, it's not about overhauling them, overhauling the security chiefs. But the security chiefs should understand that every breakdown is going to go down on them. If Nigeria goes down, the first people to blame is the military. You understand? That you should take it to heart to know that they are defending their nation.
I expect the president, having discussed with them, for them to drastically change their their tactics, and also to employ every machineries in the security apparatus that will dislodge the insurgencies.
The solution is applying proactiveness. The service chiefs has to redefine their exposure to a more curious code of conduct before we can get it right. And getting this thing right, it will be a collective effort, not just to the service chiefs alone. The ordinary persons like you and I can equally be of help in the security upbringing as far as this country is concerned.
We have to resort to help. Anyhow you can make sure you protect yourself, by doing what? Locking your house, protecting your children, monitoring what they go to and where you go to. You stop staying late night. Don't be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Welcome back. The program is still Nigeria Today, and with me have been Dr. Sadiq Hassan Arivi, Strategic Security Consultant, and I also have Wing Commander Musa Salmanu, retired peace and security expert. Now, Dr. Sadiq, how would you react to what Nigerians are saying?
Yes, it is a good thing for Nigerians to react in the manner which they are reacting, because the paramount responsibility of government for security is government to protect life and property. And what the public would like to see is that it has come to an end. Because to a large extent, people have looked at it is the meaning that is it this the same of our military? We know what is really going on. So some will even tell you that, look, if there's need, we need a foreign help, we should go and get foreign help in order for us to be able to suppress this man. But I also look at it that whichever strategy they are looking at it, some cases, they should put it to intellectual discourse so that we'll be able to have a lot of strategy. That's why I said, to me, I classify it as rule of engagement. Because over time, if we've been tailored our national security policy strategy, item by item, we're supposed to have by now built enough defensive capability, as well as offensive capability. Because when that is done, that is when you can now sit down and said, if anything happens, because the essence of defensive and offensive capability is to be being proactive. Side by side, current reality, current modern equipment, where from one end you get where they are without not going there. Because if you are looking at bandits, yes, we should be able to have a control center where we use drones and get back to them.
Technology.
Because the state has the control of its airspace. That is where I still say that it is the state that has monopoly of power.
Okay. Wing Commander, many people have asked about the feasibility of ending terrorism once and for all. How feasible is this?
Well, terrorism is a cycle. It takes a very long time to end. I can understand the frustration of Nigerians and so on. But this did not happen overnight. It did not come onto us one night. Actually, if you look at it intellectually or in intellectual discourse, you find out that to explain this, you find out you have to go back into the colonial era and how security was structured, security of the state, whereby security was or is being seen as defending urban areas. If you look at the security apparatus, that's the police, the colonial police, and even the military, you find out that they concentrated on protecting the urban areas. Now, what was left of the rural areas was some kind of arrangements between the local community chiefs and local individuals coming up with some forms of arrangements that worked for them. Where you found out that there were local militias or local armed community groups that, though they were not of the state, but they worked in partnership of existing structures or recognized structures to provide security in the periphery. Where security, the police, only concentrated in the cities. And so that evolved up to what we have today, post-independence and so on. And that's why you go to local governments, for example. You find out that if you take out the divisional police headquarters, in the local government headquarters, which might have 20 to 30 people, you don't have any policeman in anywhere in the local government, or a lot of the local government. So the question you ask yourself is, what happens to the security of the rural communities around there? Does it mean that nothing has been, there were no crime being perpetrated there? If there were crime being perpetrated there, who was taking care of the security there? So what is happening and what we are seeing is the collapse of those structures or informal structures that existed, and this creeping into the urban areas and testing the capacity of the state to withstand that pressure from that has always existed. And that's why when you look at it, you find out that these attacks have been happening in rural areas and were not recorded or were not said. In fact, what is happening, why you're asking why Abuja, is because they have found out that, and true to these arrangements, that the only place where this concentration is and where it feels that there is threat is when you come to the urban areas. News and so on started coming when these attacks started reaching those urban areas that had the monopoly. So briefly or quickly, what if I'll say, if we are to look at this, we have to also look at, okay, how do we ensure? For now, I think there will be 3 steps. In the short or in the immediate step is to ensure that you are able to suppress them and push them away. That is using the offensive capability he's talking about. Now, as you do that, you ensure that those agencies that are to ensure law and order, the police and so on and so forth, you build their capacity, increase their number, increase technological know-how that they have, and spread them wide within, so that they go outside of the urban areas and ensure that. Then thirdly, you cannot, because we don't, to build that capacity would take a long time because there has been that gap already existing. You have to prop up this community-based security armed actors, and because they already exist. So what you do, what happened is that because there is this side by side with government security actors, you have to play them against one another. Get some that work with the government, like we're doing with CJTF, we're doing with Vigilante and so on. Prop them up, get them to work with the government to suppress the dissidents. While you're suppressing them, you now bring them into the fold of the formal security architecture and ensure that you do not allow a relapse into what we are having today.
Okay, let me ask you one last question.
Yes.
As a security strategic expert,
Yes.
and with your wealth of experience,
Yes.
what can you tell Nigerians at this point in time?
Well, what I can tell Nigerians at this point in time is that our misfortune is our fortune. If we try to appreciate it and take it. But because of the current reality, give informations. Intelligence information to the authority concerned quickly, so that before anything happens, because also the attacks, they are also human. Those who they only decide to take the other side of life, they are part of the society, they are within us. So on that basis, people should be vigilant. Once you have any suspect, report immediately. Then while on the government, it is time. Security is expensive. It supports your economy supports your security. The two goes together. We call it pari passu. Because if you don't put on the same pedestal, one will be overshadowing the other. Your security protects your economy funds your security. So government should invest heavily in terms of manpower, technology, training, and welfare, so that there will be no compromise.
Thank you very much. This is where we'll call it a day. But before we go, we'd like to appreciate my guest, Dr. Sadiq Hassan Arivi, Strategic Security Consultant. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Wing Commander Musa Salmanu, retired peace and security expert. We appreciate your contribution.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And of course, to our viewers, we thank you for always sharing your time with us, and we hope that you'll be a part of the program tomorrow. Remember, you can still watch, or Monday, I mean on Monday, you can still watch this episode and other ones on www.youtube.com/NTA24hub. I am Lydia Ojiochi. Be security conscious. Goodbye. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Let's blow your trumpets. Advertise